All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're really excited to be here. I'm from the Midwest, so we start things on time as best as we can. We'll keep everybody going. It is 1:30, so we're going to start our session. My name is John. I'm really excited. Y'all heard a little bit about the story of Mojo AI today on the main stage. And while Mark was talking, he said, data is a novelty. And I thought that was a really good line. It's not the data that's important, but what you do with that data. And what's really exciting about what Mojo is doing is they're both making it really simple for the data ingestion, which is hard, but then also making it simple for people that aren't necessarily data experts like we are to use and get value out of that data. So without much further ado, I'm going to introduce my friend Corey Linton from Mojo AI and let him take over and introduce his friends here as well. So let's give a round of applause for Corey.
Thank you, John. Well, we appreciate being here today, and we're going to dive in and talk about this. So I'm Corey Linton, CEO of Mojo AI. This is Jim Thornton, Global Safety Director for Prologis. I'm going to let Jim start off and talk about a little bit about Prologis and why safety is important to them and how they need to use data.
Okay, thank you, Corey. As he mentioned, I am Jim Thornton. I am the Global Safety Director for Prologis. We are a logistical real estate company, the largest in the world, and have several, let me see.
Hey guys, the deck's not up on the main one.
A second.
There we go.
Okay.
There
we go. Yeah, and many of you probably have never heard of Prologis. We are kind of like the largest company in the world that nobody has ever heard of. But we have warehouse facilities all over the world. And in fact, many of you probably have seen our warehouses. If you're in any major U.S. city and you drive around, you'll see the Prologis logo somewhere. If you do business with any of these folks, there's a good chance that you've come in contact with a Prologis facility somewhere. So it's quite a big operation. We also do some energy work as far as solar generation. We're doing Prologis Essentials, which is forklifts, racking, and other basic needs for our logistics customers. And then we also do the development, which is what I'm involved with, and that is building these buildings. Many of these buildings range anywhere from, 100,000 square feet to 1.3, 1.4, and we're even doing some of multi-story warehousing. So that is really, if you've ever had the opportunity to see that, that is it's an up-and-coming thing because of space considerations. Instead of going this way, we now go this way. And in fact, we have one that we're working on right now right in the middle of Brooklyn, New York, and creating a major logistical challenge for us as far as going up in an urban development with a warehouse. So with that, as far as Prologis is concerned, about 3 to 4% of the world's GDP will run through one of our facilities. So there's a lot of product out there that's going through our facilities. If you've ordered anything online from, say, Amazon, Lululemon, any of these large online retailers, they're probably in a Prologis facility somewhere. We have currently over 1 million workers who come to work every day in a Prologis warehouse somewhere around the world. And currently, right now, we have over 5,000 buildings in operation. So it's quite a large venture. We will build these buildings. We own them. We operate them. And so there's a lot of involvement from the safety side there. Now, as far as safety goes at Prologis, it's being ingrained in our culture, and that's one of the things with safety. It has to be a cultural thing. It can't just be a standalone product that sits out here that you think about whenever somebody gets hurt or killed or whatever, and then you say, oh, now we need safety. Now, this is an everyday thing. This has to be a core value for the company, and right now at Prologis, it is a core value, at least on the development side of the house, which I'm responsible for. We hold people accountable for safety. We hold our general contractors accountable for safety. If they're not performing to where we need them to be, they won't work for us anymore. It's plain and simple. Obviously, we have quite a bit of leverage, being the largest in what we do. So we have a good contractor base who likes to work for us because it's pretty prestigious in the contractor world to have somebody like Prologis on your resume, so you can actually go out and market yourself that way. Couple things about that, though. You know, it all boils down to caring about workers. And one of the things that we preach every day is we have an obligation as the owner and developer of a building, while we're building it, to get every worker on that site home to their families every day injury-free. And that's what we preach, and that's what we do. That's success to us, because everybody asks, you know, what is success to you? That's success. When my phone doesn't ring, that's a good thing, okay? Because, you know, it's kind of like, for those of you, and I'm going to date myself here, for those of you guys remember the old Maytag, you know, commercials where the service repair guy is sitting there and his phone never rings? That's what my job is hopefully like. Unfortunately, things do happen. I mean, we have you know, lots of workers on our job sites every day, and they're people. They make mistakes. They misevaluate risks. They try to take shortcuts. They do whatever, and something happens, and they become injured. And then it's our job to go back from a safety side and say, okay, what went wrong? What can we do to prevent that from happening? And we're going to talk a little bit more about that in just a little bit. The other thing we have is the reputational damage. I mean, being a large company, we have very deep pockets. So if something happens on our job site and the lawsuits start flying around, we're going to be tagged on that because, you know, we're very ripe for that. People see that we have lots of money, and they're going to try to extract that from us, thinking that we won't miss that. Well, unfortunately, we do. So, but with that, you know, we don't want to be a company that's out in the world and creating unsafe work conditions or unsafe job sites. You get that reputation, then contractors won't want to work for you. And the ones that do work for you are the bad ones. And those are the people who continually get workers injured, they don't turn over projects on time, and they have quality issues. So those are some of the issues with our reputation. The other thing is the economic consequences. When we have incidents on our job sites, work stops. If you can imagine being on a job site and a catastrophic event just occurred, somebody fell, they're seriously injured, in rolls EMS, in rolls fire trucks, ambulance, police, whoever, and they're all converging on the site. What's everybody do? They stop. They stop because we all want to find out what's going on. So what happens is the job stops, and it stops for a period of time. That's lost production, and you can't make that back up. You can work Saturday, you can work Sunday, you can do that, but you can never get that time back. So that's one of the consequences. And again, in our world, our job is to get the building done safely and quickly so we can get a tenant, or what we call a customer, into that building so we can start drawing rent from them, because we are a real estate company. Okay, so we want to draw rent. So the quicker we can get them in, the more dollars are going to be coming our way. So that's how we make money. So the stoppage of work is really critical. We had a situation, we had a fatality late last year on one of our jobs in China. And when we had the worker who fell, he was fatally injured, and the Chinese government at that time, to do their investigation, stopped that project for over 30 days, okay, to do their investigation. And it's just, you know, you can never make that up in the schedule. You can compress, you can force, you can try to push contractors, but you can never get that back. So again, that's an economic consequence that we sustain. So, you know, there are a lot of reasons monetarily why we do safety. But the overriding reason is right over there on the far left. That's caring for our workers. Because if you don't care, nothing's going to happen. You're going to get people hurt. You've got to care. And that's where we think that we differentiate ourselves from a lot of people. And so, I mentioned earlier about our warehouses. We'll build anywhere from 60 to 80 new warehouses a year. Okay, like I said, they vary in size, some small, some large. We build all over the United States and all the major cities. We're in Mexico, we're in Brazil, we're in Europe, the UK, Eastern Europe, Western Europe, all over the place there. We're also in China and Japan, and we will build pretty much the same type of building. Granted, we're just building boxes. They're concrete boxes is what we build with a steel roof. And so, they're not complicated, they're not hard, they're not unusual or anything like that, but that's what we do. And we have hundreds of contractors. Not only our general contractors, because we don't self-perform. Our general contractors, we hire a general contractor to come in and be the prime, and they hire all of their subcontractors. So at any given time, we'll have hundreds of contractors on our sites at any day. I mean, today we probably have close to, 3,000 different contractors on our sites around the world. And we have over 10,000 workers per day who show up on a Prologis job site to try to build our buildings for us. So it's a lot of exposure there. There's a lot of opportunity for somebody to be hurt. And one of the things is with this type of approach and with safety, construction is historically one of the most dangerous industries in not only the United States, but across the globe. We all see stories in the newspaper, or if you're getting, these Google alerts or whatever, you get all of these alerts of, somebody was killed here, or a crane fell there, or, a building collapsed here during construction. We've all seen those, okay? So, it's something that we take seriously, that we really try to make it so that it's as safe as it can be on our job sites. And so with that, we do, want to show you this little clip here of why safety matters. And again, a very good example of safety doing its job. Even though that collapsed underneath of them, those two workers were caught by their fall protection equipment. If they would have fallen, they would have been seriously injured at least, or killed, one or the other. So you've got, safety working there. That's what we do. That's what we do every day. So it's something that's taken very seriously. It's something that we can't compromise on. And that's one of the things that Prologis, we make a big deal about it, because it does matter. A lot of the injuries we see are falls, trips and slips. We see people who get buried in trenches. We see people who get contact with electrical current, who will be electrocuted or shocked or burned in that way. We see people being struck by vehicles. That's another issue that we run into on our job sites. So there's a lot of different exposures out there. 2021, there were 384 fatalities in construction around the United States. That's a lot, guys. That's more than one a day. So, you don't really think of it in those terms, but it does happen. And unfortunately, it happens every day. And the more injuries that you have, the higher your insurance costs are going to be. And not only that, you're going to lose production costs, as we talked about earlier. You're going to lose reputation. You're going to lose all of these things. So the injuries are really critical, and that's what we try to prevent. The other thing is litigation. Unfortunately, we all live in a very litigation-heavy society now, and if somebody gets hurt, they think that they're going to come back and reap some kind of reward for that. And there are people out there who are professional claimants who will try to play the system and do the best they can to try to get something for nothing. but those typically are the exception, but there are people out there. But the fact is that when something serious happens on one of our job sites, there's going to be some litigation involved. In fact, next week, I believe it's next week, I have to set for a deposition on an injury on one of our jobs. So, it happens. And, the sad fact is that after it happens, there's nothing we can really do about that to bring that person back to life or to bring them back to full health again. So it is a kind of a really tough and important situation there. So enough about that, and let's talk a little bit about Safety Mojo and what we do with it. And that's kind of, I think, why a lot of you guys are here to see the technical side of this. We started with Safety Mojo back in March of 2023 on our projects here in the United States, Canada, and Mexico and Brazil. And with that, before that, at Prologis, we had no way to quantify safety on our job sites. We had no way to count the number of incidents. We had no way to count the number of safety observations we saw. We had no way to collect the hours worked on our projects. So we had a real void there on lack of data. And in order to make good decisions with safety, you have to have data. And that's what Safety Mojo does for us. It's very easy to use. In fact, our users, they get a 30-minute orientation and they're ready to go. You can be fully engaged in the product after a 30-minute orientation. And that's showing them 4 different forms that they have to fill out on a regular basis. So it's very simple, very easy. And in fact, our contractors have told us that it is easy to use. That's what they like about it. It fits our culture. We have, again, like I said, that culture of caring about people. This quantifies that. It shows us how many times something has happened. So we can be ahead of the curve, we like to say, or ahead of what's coming next. And this helps us, get out in front and avoid these things before they happen. Because some things in life with safety can be predictive. We know that if this happens, then this is going to follow it. And if we can break that chain, we can send that worker home to his family that night injury-free. The flexibility in the product is really critical for us because, again, we're all over the world. How we deliver our product, we try to be consistent between if we're in Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, London, Amsterdam, in Belarus, wherever else we are. We try to deliver our product the same because we're working at scale. But the fact is that there are some local differences that need to be made. And we have that flexibility in the product to do that. And like I said, it is global and it is scalable. We're using it all over the world right now. There are some issues people, will raise about, the language barriers and so forth. But we've broken through that with the addition of some of these forms are in Spanish now. So it's, and in fact, in Europe, most of our GCs there, they do speak English. So it does help in that area. So, it is a critical component of our safety program. We use it every day. It's, I've told people at my office that if we didn't have it, I don't know what we would do because it's that critical and that important to us right now. So it's a big deal that we have. So this, yeah, go ahead and try. Okay. What you're looking at here, if it's not up over there.
Oh, it's not. Yeah, we got something different on our screen. Okay, hold on. We'll fix this. There we go.
There we go. What you're looking at here is our data dashboard for our observations. On our job sites with Safety Mojo, users will go out, and if they see a safety observation, that could be a good observation, a positive observation, somebody working safely, or the opposite of somebody who is working unsafely, they can create an observation. These observations are very simple and easy to do. There's a form within the product here. It takes maybe a minute to do one. Very simple, very easy. You snap a picture, you give a description, and you're pretty much done. But what you're seeing here, right now we have over 7,000 safety observations in our system. Of those, and you can see the next down in the graph there, it shows where these are coming from. It shows who the observed party was. That would be either the subcontractor, the general contractor, and so forth. Moving on down, it would show who if it moves down, there we go. There's who they were issued to. The next shows the author who wrote that observation, so we can track and monitor that to see what our engagement is. Because again, engagement with this product is really critical to success, because in order to have a good safety culture on a job site, you have to have good engagement. If people aren't engaged, they become injured. We know that for a fact. So we move on down, and this tells you where our observations are coming, what the class of what it was, whether it be housekeeping, PPE, fall protection, trenching and excavating, all of those type of things. And then you can see where we have the breakout of the positive, or what we call area for improvement observations. You can see how those were rated as far as a hazard rating, and if they were resolved or not. So what we try to do is close out any unresolved observations, because again, that's an open safety hazard. We got to get that fixed. And this product, Safety Mojo, gives us a way to monitor and measure that. So we know if somebody is, if we have an open exposure here and it's not fixed right then and there when you see it, we've got, there's a way to monitor to make sure and we can pin accountability on a person to get them to come and fix it. They'll get an annoying email every single day. And because I get calls and people will call me and they'll say, Jim, stop those annoying emails. And I say, my answer, fix the situation and then we'll stop the emails. So it's, it's one of those things. And so this, I use this every day. Our folks in the field use this every day. It's kind of our dashboard to what's, we consider these observations leading indicators, because we can tell, where the temperature or where the pulse is of our jobs by looking at our observations here. So, it's a really key component to what we do. There's other components to this that we use, but this is a really critical one, because again, it tells us what's going on. It gives us a good picture, because I can't be at all of these job sites all over the world. We don't have full-time safety people at every one of these job sites from a Prologis standpoint. So, we have to rely upon our general contractors to use this, and that's what this product has done. That's what Safety Mojo has done for us. It has allowed us to extend our safety program into areas which we wouldn't have, without it, we wouldn't be able to reach a lot of these contractors, and more importantly, a lot of the workers out there on site.
All right. Okay. Okay. Good. So Jim is being modest. We work with another large company that has a global building program, and they have dozens of safety people. Dozens. Jim, how many people are on your team?
One. Me.
Jim is driving this all alone, and it's really pretty incredible. So, we're very lucky to work with Jim and with Prologis, because they care. So we're going to dive into a little bit of the AI now and talk about this. So our platform, the way to think about safety is there are processes and things to do to reduce risk. Safety Mojo digitizes those processes and gathers data, as Jim has shown, to take action to reduce risk. what we've done is we have our a new platform that we've been working on for a few years that we've just released that has AI deeply integrated into it. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of that, and then we're going to show how that applies to dashboards. Now, one of the challenges in this industry is, how many of you sit at a computer at least 4 or 5 hours a day? Most of you, right? Hey, Jim, how many guys out in the field sit at a computer 5 minutes a day?
Very few.
Yeah, these are not technical people. They're out in the field. They're in construction because they don't want to be sitting at a computer.
Exactly.
So one of the challenges we've had is how do we make it easy for these people in the field to gather data, and then how do we make it easy for them to find insights? And that's where we're really leveraging AI. So I'm going to switch over to my phone here. Give me 1 second. Okay. Fingers crossed. Whew. All right. Okay. So this is our mobile app. Now, Jim talked about these observations. And as he said, an observation is I see something safe or unsafe, and I document it. And Prologis' observation form, you select a few drop-downs, you do a drop-down scroll, pick something, do a drop-down scroll, pick something, click a couple buttons. It's not hard, but you got to take your gloves off and you got to do it. Well, with our conversational AI, all I have to do is speak. Jim is working on the roof and he's not tied off. So I just made a quick observation there in the way I think about it. We have trained this against hundreds of thousands of observations we've done. And, oh, you know what? I clicked the wrong one. I clicked the wrong form, so it was like, what are you talking about? Jim is on the roof and he's not tied off. Okay, so it's going to look at that and fill out these fields for us. So you can see there, it's a category fall protection. I didn't say anything about working at heights. I just said he's on the roof and he's not tied off. Now, a common term in construction is when you work at heights, you tie off. So the AI knows that's an unsafe act. And it's an act versus a condition. An act involves a person, a condition involves a circumstance. So, Jim, I didn't mean to call you out there because I know you would tie off if you're on the roof.
Absolutely.
But, and there are lots of accidents of people who have been on roofs and have fallen and died. It's a very real thing. Jim has a very clean workspace. So housekeeping in construction is a big deal. If you have a messy work site, people are going to trip. So in that case, all I said was Jim has a clean workspace. The AI knows, okay, that's housekeeping. It knows it's a positive recognition, as you can see, recognition, and it's a condition, not an act. So this really changes the way that people in the field interact. And this is a very simple form. We've got this working with much more complex forms, but the idea here is to make mobile data collection very easy. So, you're a guy out on these construction sites, you're supposed to wear gloves and your PPE all the time. Well, today in Safety Mojo, you got to go in, take your gloves off, go in. Well, now, hey Siri, I want to do an observation. You explain it, and you get it. So that works really well. So let's now talk about how that applies to data. So let's see here. I got to turn this off. Okay. So we worked with Domo and Noah, who's right here, and we wanted to apply conversational input to dashboards. So Noah helped us. We already had dashboards. We've talked about these people who are in the field. They don't want to sit and go through a bunch of things. Now Jim's dashboard has about 4 filters. That's not too bad. We've talked to companies who literally have 20 or 30. And people have to sit drop down, select, drop down, select, drop down, select. So Noah, we wanted to figure out how could we do a voice-based solution to apply these filters. And so we reached out and worked with Noah, and he helped us set this up. So let's go. It was in Domo Bricks. We'll talk here real quick how this works, but then we're going to show you. So we have an API connected to the data. It comes in. We run an ETL on it. Oh, I got to call out John Lee right here. John is the world's greatest Domo guru, and I'm not joking. Yeah. He was very much a key part of this. Yeah. So we have an ETL that runs the data. Of course, the dashboards auto-update, and what happens in the brick is we have a prompt that takes what the user says, identifies what filters fit, and then sends back to Domo JSON that's formatted to apply the filters. The filters get applied, and it works. So let's jump into this. This is right here. So this is an incidents dashboard. And incidents happen, right? Prologis runs one of the safest programs in the world, but people still get hurt. So they track what kind of incidents happen. Property damage, first aid, near miss, what is the cause of the incident. All this stuff gets tracked and recorded in our system. Oh, thank you. Okay. Thank you. So this is an incidents dashboard showing the type of incidents, what's the cause of the incidents. You can see where incidents are happening in what part of the world, and there's a lot of really valuable data here. So we've applied this conversational to this. So I'm just going to say, show me I'll say, show me first aid in California. So I'm going to submit that. The AI is going to take that, and we'll actually show you can see up here, it applies these filters. I saw John just go, whew. You can see it says California. Now notice, I didn't say first aid incidents. I just said I want to see first aid. When you're out in the field, these guys are talk about a near miss or a first aid. Well, the AI is able to see, oh, you must be talking about an incident, so it applies that filter. And California. The actual name of the category is US-California, but it's able to figure out you must be talking about California. We can do EU Central here. Now, I'll just show you here that the filters, let's see. The filters are applied, right? It filtered everything down. So we can do the same with the EU Central. Again, it's going to go through and do that. Now, let's go a little further. Let's say for all of 2023. So now I'm giving something a little more complex, right? I'm telling it all of 2023, and let's see what it does there. So you can see January 1st, 2023 to December 31st. Again, we don't think, oh, hey, I want to see everything from January 1st of last year to December 31st. No, we think, I want to see everything for last year, right? That's how we as humans think. And what I'm excited about is now people can pull data out the way they think about it. Now, this is all real and raw, and it's not perfect. If I say for last year, let's see what that does. There's still some finessing we're doing on this. I didn't click submit. There we go. So you'll see it actually goes September 1st of 2023 to March 31st of 2024. That makes no sense, right? So there's still some finessing we've got to do on this, on some of these things. Like we all know, if I say I want to see everything last year, we know what that means. So there's still work we're doing to refine this, but it's really doing pretty amazing, and we're pretty excited about it. Let me show this to you on mobile.
Hey, this will be a game changer in our world because, again, we have people on our job sites, either the superintendents, the foremen, and so forth who are using this, even the safety directors from a lot of our general contractors who are they're not tech savvy. They don't know how to work these systems. They don't know how to work their way around. And just by being able to speak to something and have it produce results for you is incredible. I mean, when I started in safety 37 years ago, if somebody would told me that we would be at this point right now, I'd have told them they were completely nuts and to get out of my office. But here we are. And this is, to me, this is very exciting and very, very revolutionary in our industry.
Oh, good. So here's a mobile version. So it's the same dashboard, just formatted for mobile. But what's fun about this one is I can speak into it. Show me all the near miss for the eastern U.S. So let's go ahead and submit that. And then we can go up here and see the filters. Oh, I don't think it picked up. It did pick up U.S. East. Why? What did it pick up? Oh, you know what? I might have been. Hey, no smoke and mirrors here. This is real. So, warts and all. Show me near miss for the eastern U.S. So, and of course, my phone started ringing right at that moment. Gosh.
Your wife wants some coffee.
That's very funny. That's an inside joke. Thank you, John. So I just typed it in instead. But you can see here, same thing, right? It works. It generally works pretty good. So, but the power of this, the mobile, is where it gets really exciting, right? Because the main user of this, they're guys out in the field. They're not sitting at a computer. They have a small screen. So where we're going with this is we gotta finesse this and get the date thing working. That's the only area we're struggling with. So we'll get that figured out. But where we go next is, right now you gotta find your dashboard. Where we really want to go is where Jim can ask a question like, hey, how many corrective actions have not been corrected in the eastern U.S.? We want to go find the right dashboard, apply the right filters, and bring that up. So we have a lot of exciting stuff coming. This is a great first step, but it really is just the first step. So,
And there's a lot of other products out there that in the safety world who collect observations and so forth, but none of them are to this detail. And you know, when our general contractors who use other products see this, they're overwhelmed. They're like, "Wow, I wish my product that I spent, you know, all this money on did that." And it's like, "Well, we can get you in touch, you know." But
one of the reasons we love Jim, right there.
so, but no, I mean it is that way because there are I don't know half dozen different applications that you can use, but they don't do this.
Yeah, and there's two keys here, right? Gathering better data, because garbage in, garbage out. We want to get good data. And if we can get it from people the way they think about it, then we get better data, and now we can take that and provide better insights. So it is really exciting. That's it. Let's open it up for Q&A.
Yeah, let's give them a round of applause. This is the type of thing, when we first started talking about this, we wanted to talk about just like the art of the possible and really leave you with something. You are doing similar stories as well, and it's not the data itself, just like what Corey's just saying, the kind of the two parts where you got to collect the data and kind of do things, but that isn't the cool part. Doing things, in this case, to save people's lives and keep from injury is incredible, and I'm sure y'all have something similar that you can do with the data that you have. So really excited about that. We've got a few minutes. We want to make sure we have questions. You can use your outside voice, or I can give you a microphone. I'm waiting for the crew to tell me. Microphone. I'll get you the microphone. Who wants to start out with questions?
Yeah, I'd love to hear how you guys are incentivizing like the reporting to capture this data, just to, in the field, how it's actually working.
We do get a fair amount of reports in, from our general contractors. In fact, we're getting, I don't know, anywhere from 40 to 80 observations a day. And as far as incentivizing that, that's continuing to work for Prologis. I'd hate to be that blunt about it, but we cite an expectation and we use that. Now we do have a safety recognition program, of which the use of Safety Mojo is a key component of that. So if you want to win one of those, what we think are prestigious awards, you need to use Safety Mojo. So that's a good question.
And just to take off of that a little bit, Prologis, as Jim said, they're a very prestigious company to work for. Contractors want Prologis jobs. They pay well. They've been around a long time. They're going to be building more. So it's written into the contract, right, that they have to use it.
It is.
Hey guys, awesome presentation. I think I might have missed it, but the end users, are they using the Domo app then, or is it embedded into the Mojo where they can view that dashboard on mobile?
Thank you. I didn't mention that. We use Domo Embed. So all the dashboards live inside of our application and they're accessed through our application. Thank you. Yeah, I meant to say that earlier, but I didn't. And that's one thing we were really excited about with Domo is we're using Domo's AI layer to work with AI, and that is built into the embed, so it works fantastically on the embed side.
Hi. Yes, great presentation. You mentioned at one point in scrolling through the dashboard the causality link between the incident and the cause. Mm-hmm. How do you get to that? I mean, some are probably quite straightforward, and I don't know inference and other things that you're using to maybe make those connections of this happened because of when you mentioned the chain. Right. Like, how are you identifying that chain is a collection of events before a specific event?
Well, right now we kind of use our professional history and our judgment on certain things that are quite obvious, as you pointed out. Moving forward, though, we're in a process of linking all of this data into one dashboard or one source, so we can actually start tying in and telling our folks, you know, if we're having, say, a lot of slips, trips, and falls, okay, and then you look at the observation side and you see nothing related to slips, trips, and falls on the observations, then we go back and we'll do a re-education of our users to say, hey, we're not looking for the right things here. You know, we're not, and what we're trying to do is create that causal link between the incident and the observations, and there's another component of this, which is a job site checklist, which our contractors do every week, and tie all of those together to say, okay, you know, you're missing something here. And that's kind of a roundabout way to answer that question. But there's no real component or piece right now that tells us, you know, a red flag or anything that pops up and says, you know, warning, you have this issue. There will be in the future.
Yeah, it's been nice to have Jim out here because we've spent the last couple of days geeking out on vector databases and predictive AI and a lot of really cool stuff that we're working on with Prologis' data, because the thing about safety, there's a lot of stuff that happens in safety. A lot of companies still do it on paper. That data has no value. Prologis is gathering good data so that we can really start to do some exciting things and start to link all those steps to be able to predict, hey, there's a big risk of an incident, action needs to be taken. And that's where we're going with all this, which is exciting.
Yeah, we're a little bit early in the process as far as actually, you know, correlating one to the other right now because of the lack of good data. And I don't say good data, but enough data to do that in certain areas. But yeah, that's where we're headed with this.
How difficult was the journey to prepare the data in a way that it'll work with the prompting?
Oh, in the dashboard?
Yeah.
Well, so how did we prepare the data so we could use it with the prompt?
With the prompts, yeah. The people is going to actually ask.
Yeah, it was Noah. It was a lot of trial and error, honestly. Right? This was new stuff, and it was a lot of just testing and testing and testing, and until we started to get the results we wanted, and then trying different questions like, you know, hey, show me everything for all of 2023. That worked. Show me everything for last year. Okay, that breaks. So now we gotta massage that. So, you know, I think we got 90% of the way there, and that last 10% is more work than the first 90. But it's, you know, this is really cutting edge new stuff, and so that's all stuff we're still figuring out, to be honest.
So I've actually got a question for each of you. I'm just curious, are you guys actually a Domo customer at Prologis, or is your exposure just to the embed? Are you using your safety data with the project data and finance as well?
We do use Domo products on some of our data. I don't know which data it is. I'm focused on what I do. I have enough, trying to keep track of all of these workers and everything. But no, we do use it.
And you're such a massive organization, right?
Yeah, and some of our areas we are using it.
Yeah, and then I was curious on the AI front. You said it fit in the AI service layer. It looks kind of like you're doing two separate things though. One is modeling around taking speech and saying, hey, this is what happened, this was an event, or is this an observation, et cetera. And then the filtering looks very Domo specific, right? Are you doing that in two different ways? Are you doing it in the same way, in the same service layer? Like one thing seems very Domo specific, the other one is very domain specific.
I could give you an answer with a lot of big words, but I honestly have no idea because Noah did that. Noah, if you want to answer that, you're better equipped to answer that than I am.
Yeah, I know Manoj probably on the. Oh, yeah. So on the filtering stuff, that's very Domo specific, and then I'll let Manoj talk about the speech to form app because that's separate.
Yep, both are different. So like Noah said, for the data analytics side, we are using Domo's AI layer. for the conversational AI that we use in our product. That's our own AI infrastructure, which we tap into like multiple models.
You guys gonna put them together?
Definitely.
Eventually, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that because I think I kind of misunderstood the question. But what we're doing on the form side is we're doing a lot of tuning of large language models to our data so that it gets better and better and better. We haven't gotten that far on the Domo side yet, but we absolutely we will. By the way, this is Manoj. She's our Chief Operating Officer. So, yeah.
Cool. Well, with that, let's give them another round of applause. Thank you both.
Thank you.